So let's think about what we did. So we had the number of, this was the number of hours per week. So this was the number of weekly hours. We'll just call it H. We had to multiply the number of hours by 52. So what we did over here was we took 52 times H in our calculator. And that was the denominator. We had to take that salary and we had to divide it, which was 56,000, by 52 times H. So to get the wage, we had to take, or the wage equals, $56,000 per year divided by the number of hours per year will give us the number of dollars per hour. So this was the number of dollars, this was the number of hours. And so that's how we got our hourly wage. Well, now wait a minute, this is a function, and if you want to, you can think about it as y equals 56,000 divided by 52x. Okay, well the reason we're going to do that is because now we're going to enter it into our calculator. So we want to see sort of, we're going to clear anything out that's already there. Be sure that your plots are all unhighlighted so we don't get any errors. And we're going to take 56,000 and we're going to divide that by parenthesis 52 times x. So not only do we want this table of 3 values, which by the way we noticed that the salary made a big jump from, I think we had 40 to 50,000. So for 10 more hours per week, it was a pretty significant drop, but then for 10 more hours, that drop was not so significant. It was a little bit less. So notice what happens to the slopes of these lines. The slopes are decreasing. The question is, how much more do they decrease? Well, let's figure it out. To set our window, well, we know that you can't work negative hours, so we'll set our window to 0 hours. So this is hours, this is the hourly wage that's a result of that, and we'll go out to maybe, well, what's the top number of hours? Maybe somebody could justify working 100 hours a week, although that might be a bit of a big step. What's the minimum salary that you can, minimum hourly wage that you can have? Well, you can't have less than 0, and you can't really have more in this situation than 56,000. Okay, well, we begin to graph this, and hopefully our window is okay. Something's wrong here. Let's see what we've entered. So we had 0 to 100 hours and 0 to 56,000. Now realistically, I think I made a mistake here. Because the output is the hourly wage, no person will make $56,000 per hour. I think the most we saw was about $26 per hour when you worked 40 hours per week. So let's just look at this. Well, there it is. There's kind of that curvature that we see, except of course you can work any number of fractional or decimal hours as well. And so what's happening to your wages, your hourly wage is quickly diminishing, and it's diminishing in this direction. So, well, let's try to get a bigger picture. So theoretically, what if I were to continue to increase my workload? So let's just say somebody could work 1,000 or 100,000 hours per week. So let's just say 1,000 hours. Now that's just completely in theory, but we're going to go ahead and look at that anyway. Now what's happening to your hourly pay? Well, as the number of hours approaches, and we're going to write it this way, as the number of hours goes to, I'm going to write it this way, I'm going to say infinity. So as the number of your hours basically increases, your hourly wage, which we're representing by W, I'm going to write it like this. Your hourly wage, W, goes to 0. So as you continue to work more and more hours, as we increase the axis this way, your wage drops down and it goes to 0. Well, wait a minute, what's happening over here? So on the flip side, I'm going to set this back to maybe 40, just so I can kind of study what's happening more towards this side. So what happens, oh, there's a little piece of it, what happens as my hours approach 0? So we'll write this way. As your number of hours per week approaches 0, something has to happen. Now really, you probably won't work less than 40 hours per week, but theoretically speaking, I'm going to set my hourly wage to 100, because if I work less hours per week, that means my hourly wage is going to be higher because I'm getting paid the same annual salary. So look at this. Okay, so already at this number of weekly hours, I'm making $100 per hour. Well, why is that?